Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my very first Q&A video. I've never done one of these before and I'm really excited to get to it. I asked you last week in a video that I posted to leave me some questions, some bookish questions, and you did. And I also asked on Instagram as well. I'm going to read the Instagram questions out first and then I'm going to read the questions that came through on my previous video. So yeah, let's get into this. I'm so excited. So this one is from Lil's Vintage World over on Instagram. What books are currently on your bookish wish list? Too many to mention. I have an Amazon wish list, and if you really want to see it, I can post it down below. Some of the books aren't very good. It's just books that I've seen like on other people's booktubes, mentioned in Instagram posts that I've thought I quite like the look of that, and I add it to my wish list because I don't know if I want it right then, but there might become a time when I'll remember and think, well, actually, yeah, okay, so I'll post it down below if you want to have a look at it. It's not exciting. The next question again is from Lil's Vintage World over on Instagram. Which books do you reread again and again and love even more each time you read them? Okay, so there are two books that I read again and again and absolutely love them even more each time. And they're both by Roald Dahl. So the first one is The Witches and the second one is Matilda. These two are easily my favourite by Roald Dahl. The Witches tells the story of a group of witches that have a meeting in a hotel and they are foiled by a little boy, but not before they turn him into a mouse. The film adaptation of this is very good as well. Matilda is the story of a young, very intelligent girl who is a voracious reader, and she is put to school. Her headmistress is a tyrant and they get the better of her because Matilda can move things with her mind. And I just love it. I love Roald Dahl's writing. Roald Dahl's characters are so much fun. Oh, and the film adaptation of this one is very good too. The characters are so fun. The adults 9 times out of 10 hate children. And it's apparently said that Roald Dahl didn't like children either. So yeah, which is quite funny because he wrote for children. Anyway, yeah, so my favourite books that I read again and again and love even more each time are The Witches and Matilda by Roald Dahl. Love these. So I'll put these here just now and get another question. Okay, so this is from my lovely husband. He has asked me the question, what book scares you most? So the book that scares me the most is a book that I buddy read with my mum back in 2006 when this book first came out. And the idea of this book has never left me. This book has stuck with me since I first read it. And it's Stephen King's Cell. This tells the story of a virus which is sent through mobile phone networks. It's more of a pulse, actually. It resets your brain and basically turns you into a zombie. And the first few chapters in this, where the pulse has been sent through the mobile phones, is terrifying because people are literally animals. They're crazed zombies and they're tearing lumps off of one another. They're beating themselves up. It's basically a post-apocalyptic novel, and it's something that Stephen King does so well. And the characters in this are brilliant. Do not get me started on the movie. I was so disappointed. Like I say, my mum and I buddy read this. I think even before the term buddy read was even a thing. And ever since we've discussed what a movie of this would be like. And then when the movie came out, I can't even remember, I think it might have been 2016, it wasn't out in the cinema. It was basically, I don't think it was anyway. It was, I saw it on, I think it was Channel 5 it was being showed on. And I had no idea that it had even been like optioned for a movie. We'd always hoped that it would be, but yeah, it was terrible. And I was so disappointed. And I remember phoning my mum and saying, "Oh my goodness, Mum, Cell has been made into a film. It's on." And then I watched it, and I immediately phoned my mum and says, "Mum, please don't even waste your time. It's atrocious. It's terrible." Yeah, so this is the book that scares me most, because around about the time when this first came out, mobile phones, not everyone had one by that point, whereas now, 9 times out of 10, people have mobile phones and smartphones. Apple and Samsung are the two biggest brands that you can find, and everyone's glued to their phone. So this is still, like 14 years later, still so what's the word, prevalent. The storyline, it could so easily happen. I mean, especially in the current climate. And people have said that, you know, the COVID-19 has been sent through the 5G signal, which is basically the premise of this novel. So yeah, there we go. Let's get another question. If I can open my iPad. Okay, so this is from Jem Loves Books over on Instagram. And it's, do I have a favourite Scottish author? Yes, I do. My favourite Scottish author is a gentleman called Alexander McCall Smith. Although I believe he wasn't actually born in Scotland. Although I'm not too sure. I'll grab the book that I love of his. This is my favourite book by Alexander McCall Smith. It tells the story of a young girl who finds out that her uncle accidentally made peanut butter one night when he was trying to grind some coffee beans, and he got some peanuts, and that's the story of who invented peanut butter. Alexander McCall Smith. I met this gentleman. I've met him twice now. I met him when I was about 10 in Edinburgh, when I lived there with my family. I was at a youth group, and he came along, and he told us what it was like to be a writer, his love of books, his love of stories, his love of writing, what it felt like to have a book published, and he actually gave us a copy of this book. This is not the original one. I sadly lost it many years ago. I had to hunt this one down because my husband and I went to see Alexander McCall Smith a couple of years ago now in Topping and Company, and he's just a lovely, lovely man. Absolutely. And the series that he did, the Ladies Detective Agency series with the main character Mara Motsway. I've read one of those, and I've always meant to go back, and I just haven't yet. So who knows? That might be a series that I'll read. But definitely, he's my favourite Scottish writer. My second favourite Scottish writer is a gentleman called Russell D. McLean. I can't believe I forgot that. He wrote a series of Tartan Noir, which is basically like Scottish murder mystery. And it was set in Dundee. It told the story of a private detective who became embroiled in the gritty underworld of Dundee gangland. And very good. I shall pop this down, and I'll get another question. If I can open my iPad again. Prepared, Graham, be prepared. Open up. Okay, so this is from someone on Instagram called love.u406. Okay, so your 5 favourite books. Okay, so my 5 favourite books are, I've not even prepared this very well. Dearie me, bear with me just a second. So my 5 favourite books going from 5 to 1. Okay, so my fifth favourite book is The Secret Life and Curious Death of Miss Jean Milne by Andrew McCall. This tells the story, it's like a fictionalised retelling of a true murder case from 1912 that happened in Broughty Ferry, which is just a couple of miles down the road from Dundee. It's really part of Dundee. They don't like to say that it is, but it is. So this tells the story of Miss Jean Milne. What am I trying to say? She was a spinster lady. My mind went completely blank there. Could you see it? There was nothing. There was just nothing. She was a spinster lady who owned a 26-room mansion in the very posh area of Broughty Ferry. In 1912, Broughty Ferry was its own separate place. It's a beautiful little village. It's lovely. But Miss Jean Milne goes missing. No one thinks anything of it because she used to go down to London all the time on holidays and would spend weeks, months away from her home. And so nothing is thought about it until her mail starts to pile up in the postbox. So it's the postman who alerts the police, and it turns out that Miss Jean Milne has been murdered, bludgeoned over the head, stabbed with a meat fork, and left to die, and was there for like 3 weeks. It's still unsolved to this day, but what the author has done with this book is incredible. I think he went through all the case files that still exist to this day. He went through them all and came up with this perfectly credible conclusion that, when you think about it, may actually be this case solved. Even though it's a sort of fictionalized retelling. This is glorious. This took me about 2.5, maybe 3 days to read, and I still think about this book. I just love it. It's amazing. And I love this book so much that after I'd read it, I went to a florist. I bought a bunch of flowers, and I went to the real Jean Milne's grave and laid the flowers on her grave, because it had that much of an impact on me. This story has always interested me. The unsolved sort of locked room mystery. Just amazing. I've spent ages talking about that book. Right, okay, so number 4 is Nutshell by Ian McEwan. Again, amazing. Love this author, love his writing. It's dark, it's just witty, clever, atmospheric, and just brilliant. This tells the story of a 9-month-old fetus who is almost ready to be born. He's still inside his mother's womb, and that's the point of view that we get. I think it's supposed to be a retelling of Shakespeare's Hamlet, and yeah, he overhears his mother and his uncle plotting to kill his father, and it's just outstanding, absolutely incredible. This was the first Ian McEwan novel that I ever read, and I love it. Yeah, brilliant. So Nutshell by Ian McEwan is number 4. Joint number 3 and 2 are Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Now, this edition is my Barnes & Noble leatherbound edition, or one of them. I have 2 because they come in slightly different designs. I love Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. The idea of falling down the rabbit hole into a land that is just wonderful, and characters that she meets along the way, and yeah, it's just brilliant. It's like the ultimate dream land. Wonderland, really. So yeah, that's my 3 and 2. My number 1 book, you've probably seen Hannah's video, where her first in her new series called Favourite Book, where we discuss this, which is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. Absolutely adore this. Another locked door mystery, although this one is completely fabricated. I don't think there's any fact in this at all. Agatha Christie, for me, is my all-time favourite writer. Her plot devices, her red herrings, her clues, her twists and turns, her characters are just incredible. And the time in which she was writing, in which these books are set, it's that glamour against the backdrop of calculation and murder and intrigue and mystery. I just love it. It's just such, it's a cocktail of brilliance, and I love it. So that's Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. That's my number one favourite book. Bet you thought it was going to be Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass would be my number one. It's not. I kept that quiet. Right, so another question. Hold on. I'm on to the YouTube questions now. Okay, so this is another question from Jem Loves Books, and this is this time from the comments on my last video. Which character from fiction would you say most resembles you? Okay, so the character that most resembles me is Matilda from Roald Dahl's Matilda. Not because she has telekinesis. I don't. I'm sorry. Because she's a voracious reader and she reads anything she can get her hands on. And for me, that's it. And I love it. It's incredible. So yeah, although given the choice, if my husband were to answer that question for me, he would say that I was the Grand High Witch from The Witches by Roald Dahl. Because, yeah. So, yeah, I most resemble Matilda for her voracious love of books. Yeah. So the next question is from Spinelli Speaks, and I believe her name is Danny. This was from the previous video as well. Since you love Agatha Christie so much, she saw the Hannah Tay video. Who do you think you would be in her novels? Any one of them. Okay, so if I were to be anyone from one of Agatha Christie's novels, it would be Ariadne Oliver. And Ariadne Oliver appears in this one. I've never read any of the Ariadne Oliver Poirot novels. I've read a lot of Agatha Christie, but have not read any of these ones yet. And I don't know why, because if I were to be a character in one of her books, I've seen the TV adaptations. If I were to be a character from an Agatha Christie novel, it would be Ariadne Oliver. Because Ariadne Oliver is based upon Agatha Christie. She put herself into the book. So by proxy, I would be Agatha Christie. And that would just be incredible. So yeah, the question also goes on to say, if I can get my iPad to go again. Come on. Okay, so also, if you could write the next Christie novel, what would the title be? What would the title be? Death and Daring in Dundee. Just because. Death and Daring in Dundee. Yeah, that sounds rubbish. I don't know. Yeah, that would be my title. Even though it's rubbish. That would be a 25 pence novel at the train station. One that you would read on the train and leave it on the train for the next person. You wouldn't want to keep it in your your collection. So yeah, Death and Daring in Dundee. So I have another question from my lovely husband Duncan. He commented on the previous video. Of the books you have read, which one describes a world you want to live in? Okay, so that would be Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Who wouldn't want to live in Wonderland with all those incredible characters? You'd have to stay away from the Queen because she'd want to cut your head off. But yeah, that's the land I would stay in. There's cake. There's things to drink that make you tall, that make you small. That would be a dream to live in Wonderland. Who wouldn't want to live in Wonderland? Maybe Neverland as well, from Peter Pan. I think I'd probably choose Wonderland first, though. Okay, so the next question. If you had to evacuate your house really quickly, which one of your books would you grab on the way out the door? That's a really difficult question because I love all my books. I'd probably burn alive. I couldn't choose. I do have a couple of really old editions, especially my edition of Dracula from 1912. I'd probably grab that. Definitely grab that. And I have a couple of editions of the Strand magazine that are like bound up in hardback form. I'd probably grab those. Oh, and I have a Mrs. Beeton's Household Management from 1924. I'd probably grab that as well. But by grabbing all those, I'd probably burn alive because, yeah, it's a difficult question because I love all my books. So yeah, and I have another question. Again, my pad has gone to sleep. So this is the final question. You're probably so glad. Okay, is your channel cover taken in Voltaire and Rousseau? So cover photo that'll appear like above on my channel. Is your channel cover taken in Voltaire and Rousseau? Yes, it is. And the lady, Sadie, reads again, goes on to say, can't wait to go back there. On that topic, what are your favourite bookshops? So my favourite bookshop is Voltaire and Rousseau. Absolutely. It is a chaotic place to be in, but an amazing one. It's almost like a bookish wonderland. There are shelves, but there are also piles of books on the floor that are higher than I am in places, and little spaces to go by. I think if I was to go back to Voltaire and Rousseau, I'd probably need to lose the lockdown weight that I've gained first, because I don't think I'd fit. But yeah, other bookshops that are my favourite. Topping and Company, both in St Andrews and Edinburgh. I haven't been to the ones in Ely, or there is another one, Bath. I haven't been to those ones. But who knows, in the future, when all this crazy lockdown, coronavirus, COVID-19 madness is over, I might go down. So that is the end of my first Q&A. Whatever you're doing, I'm breathless. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye-bye.